Hello, guys. Welcome to another episode of Ramble Shrapnel on Spotify, Apple, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, and so many more. Again, guys, this is only a little bits and pieces from the main episode as hosted by our fabulous, most wondrous Darth Lord Jotun. Say hi, hello, Jotun, or shall we bow to you, Lord Jotun?
Good day. Damn it.
Very cool.
Nobody
Um,
can do that amazing Darth Vader voice like the original
oh,
actor. What's his name
big
again?
time. So, guys, yes, Jotun was the victor of that video.
James Earl Jones.
Unfortunately, James Earl Jones. Yeah, he
That
was on
deep,
Big Bang Theory.
deep basso profundo voice there.
Oh, brilliant voice.
You've actually got the same voice register as him, eh? Like
I,
a
I can see
double
myself
bass
doing
voice register.
that. I can definitely do that. Maybe you can train me sometime. I'll take you up on that. You can like train me and then said, "You're now Darth Vader,"
I will.
and then I can stop you in Lord Sidious.
I will. I need voice actors. People hit me up if you're a voice actor willing to work pro bono.
But yes, guys. So Jotun was the winner of that round. Unfortunately, the dark side is just more attractive to the audience. I don't know why, but
Join
we are.
us.
but
I have to do that
but
laugh. I can't do a Palpatine laugh.
I'll train you. Don't worry. You'll get there soon. So, guys, we just want to say the topic of today not going to be the Sith or the Jedi Code because as we were kind of enticed to kind of keep talking. So, guys, as you are probably aware, this is again the little bits and pieces, and fortunately, Yos and I can keep talking about a subject that we both hold very dear to our hearts, and we're going to be covering one of the Jedi's or Grey Jedi's in this episode, as pointed out by one of our listeners, which we shall not name as per their request. Again, guys, we don't mind if you guys want a shout out. We're happy to give a shout out. But if you guys prefer just the kind of the low key, just sending the thing, and then we send a message to you, say, hey, do you want us to send out a name? It's your choice. We don't mind. It's if you want to have all the fabulous listeners cheering you on, or if you guys prefer the low key life,
Woo! Go
we understand.
Jotun! Go Jotun!
But again, let's start the little episode of Ramble Shrapnel. So, Jotun, I'm going to start with the Grey Jedi Code. And again, guys, there's no official Jedi Grey Code out there. You will find many versions to this one. It's just
I
because
was just
no,
about to
the
say.
Grey. I've done my research. Just the Grey Jedi are quite not quite concrete ideology. Basically, there's a lot of ways you can think of it. I like to think of it as the Great Jedi as being a middle ground between both the Sith and the Jedi, where they follow more of the teachings of the Jedi, where they protect, follow the good side, but at the same time, they are free to do whatever they wish. So if they want to use Darth Lightning or the Force choke, they can because they have a understanding that no Force power is evil. It's just how you use it to be good or evil. What do you, before we go into the code that I find, what do you think, Jotun?
About them being like in the midpoint between the two, or in between the two.
Give give us one of your legendary factual lectures of what's your understanding of the Great Jedi? I've given my understanding. What's your understanding of the Great Jedi?
Okay, so my understanding of the Great Jedi is basically that they're kind of people that are more aligned with the Jedi teachings, in as much as wanting to have peace and harmony and all of that. But they feel that there's a lot of untapped potential to the dark side, the best side, and so they explored it, and through their exploration they found that some of the Jedi teachings weren't entirely true. Things such as you need to be completely, like, you need to have like an equilibrium with your emotions, and you must never fully invest yourself in those emotions, which was a gripe that both you and I had about the dark
Mm.
side. But I think that in the end, they realized that you can actually resist the temptation of fully succumbing to the dark side while still utilizing it. And because of that, I don't they may not even have fully wanted to leave the Jedi Order if that is where they started. But they might have been shunned by the Jedi Order or something like that. But basically, they realize there's a lot of untapped power and or untap power on the dark side, and they could harness that in a beneficial way because using the force is more about the intent behind its use and less about like philosophy and stuff like that. It's a tool.
100%. Yeah. No, no, and I agree with that. The Grey Jedi have because when I
To
think Grey Jedi,
sorry to
unfortunately,
put that in a nice maxim, I would say they believe that the force is a tool and not a religion.
agreed. And
Yeah.
that's very cool because both sides, whether the Jedi or the Sith, they believe it's a religion. They
Mm,
have their specific ways, and I think that's why the Great Jedi Code is so it changes because they don't have a religion. They, like you said, they don't abide to a single code. Maybe that's why it's so you can find so many different versions where it's flexible because it's intended to be flexible. It's
yeah.
depending on your person how to use it, and to me, I think that's a more natural way of tapping into the Force than even the Jedi do, because the Jedi claim to be natural Force wielders. But I think the Grey Jedi's are even more natural because they not only won because of teachings, they won with their souls as well.
Yeah.
Where the Jedi is only one because of their teachings, and the Sith they don't want to be one; they want to be dominant. Where I think Grey is a perfect equilibrium where they themselves, but there's also the Force,
Yeah.
which is hey, that gave me chills.
Yeah. So, tell me, what are there any cool things that the Grey Jedi can do that no other people can do that you know about?
Um, so I haven't actually discovered anything additional because the Grey Jedi's are the best of both worlds. That's the only difference that I find. Because when I think of the Grey Jedi's, I really think of Ahsoka Tano. She's one of the more figureheads of Grey Jedi's nowadays. She was a Padawan of Obi-Wan, not Obi-Wan Anakin, and she left the.
Get your law straight here, man. This is a
I'm sorry.
serious podcast, okay?
I'm
There's no
sorry.
fun here. This is fact.
I'll go to the whipping machine after this episode, okay? I'll get it whipped into me. No, but she left the war just before the end of the Clone Wars, and basically she decided to be a Grey Jedi because she believed that the religion or the Jedi had been corrupted by war between the Separatists. And beyond that, I didn't see any major differences between the two between Grey Jedi that makes them really stand out. I'll be really interested if you do know. But the biggest advantage of the Grey Jedi is that with the addition of emotion, they are stronger than Jedi. Like you mentioned before, the Sith are very powerful, but the bonus of that is that Grey Jedi are powerful, but they don't lose their minds because being a Sith, the person generally gets corrupted and they lose sight of what their personality. They just crave power. They hunger eternally. Where the Grey Jedi seems satisfied but powerful.
No, they have all the sweet powers, except for these few. Okay, so there are actually a few force powers that it
Teach
seems
me.
only Grey Jedi could have, and here they are. So apart from being like just super versatile and being able to use Jedi mind tricks and Force lightning, which are from the two opposite sides of the Force, there were, for example, the Gensarai, who were a group of the Grey Jedi, and they were able to make themselves invisible in the force, but not invisible like nobody can see me, but more no other force sensitives could sense them because they could
Oh,
mask their force aptitude, which I think is really cool because no other force group could really do that. And if you're a morally ambiguous group of force users, like your only threat are other force users, so that's a very handy ability. There was another cool one, which is that they were able to throw things with the type of force throw that was so fast it was near lethal. So they could throw things so quickly that it could basically kill you. Which, I mean, if you look at at least the depiction in visual media of force throw and force push abilities, it's like these slow lumbering kind of movements of force push and force throw. But they could do like bullet speed for objects, which is kind of cool. But definitely the best and the coolest for me is that there was a group of Grey Jedi called the Imperial Knights, which were able to self levitate. So basically fly because of a specific force power. And that is just piss cool, dude. Yo, I would so love being able to do that. Even if it was like a slow kind where you just like basically hovering. That's so awesome. Oh,
Like I know Jedi,
yeah.
Master Yoda could do it, but that's when he was like in his meditation phase. Like they would like float, but they wouldn't necessarily. Is their fly like active? Like if I'm sprinting and I see the guys like jumping up this building, I could jump higher than he could, but I could kind of already start the height difference because if I'm like running from a distance, I see, hey, I can actually levitate myself like that. Is that what the kind of fly is?
I have no idea. I
That
think
would be cool.
levitate does have a bit more of a connotation of like a slow, graceful kind. Let me check
Hey,
for
that's
you.
cool.
But
Well, you do that.
there's one more cool one, which
Okay,
is
go.
that other great Jedi were able to use a force power called Ionize, which was it gave them the ability to activate and destroy machines,
Wow.
which is pretty impressive. And wasn't there like some ancient battle where people tried to destroy machines in Star Wars? I think it was like the Mandalorians or something that did it. Oh no, it was,
Oh, the
sorry, I think it was
this.
sentient machines. Like specifically, yeah. Anyway, yeah.
No, no, no. I was just going to add to it that the only machine war that I'm aware of is the Separatists, and those are the droids where they go Raja Raja, and the Roddy Polies and the super battle droids and all those kind of things. And they had a wide array. If you guys watch the Clone Wars, you'll see quite an array of bigger and more AI focused intelligence. But yeah, the one cool thing that I like about the Grey Jedi is the color of their lightsaber. Because look, the Jedi with their blues and their greens and sometimes purples, and the Sith with their mainly red and oranges, sometimes oranges. It's more reds. It's like pure red. Um, where I'm sure Jurgen probably will correct me here, but I will try to get as correct as possible here. The creation of the lightsaber colors is such an interesting thing for me because the Jedi just get it from the stone. They meditate and the stone picks them, and then the stone comes towards them. While the Sith, they break into the soul of the crystal, the essence of the Jedi crystal, and turn it and infuse it with a rage and anger. So that's why the lightsaber turns red. But the Grey Jedi, they meditate, they purify the crystal. So the crystal gets a color of yellow.
I think it's literally the opposite with the Sith from what the Grey Jedi do. The Sith literally basically torture the lightsaber crystal, and it's
Eh,
like the lightsaber crystal's pain that makes it that color, which
eh.
is pretty brutal, dude.
Yeah, but that's just what I'm saying. The Great Jedi, they purify it,
Yeah.
and the coolest color for me is white. Just having that like white lightsaber, that shows that these guys are, in essence, pure middle, but also pure light or pure essence of this is what we could be if you guys ascend. It's like the middle ground of like this is the superior Jedi. The Jedi are there, the Sith are there, but they have their flaws. They may have their weaknesses that pull them down. And the Grey Jedi are just ascended beyond that. They don't think any power is evil, and they want power, but they don't like have this entire hunger. Well, the Jedi, they have so many strict rules that they stop being themselves. They have to conform. Where this Grey Jedi is just an ascended form. That's how I view them, at least.
I think the coolest lightsaber color would be either ultraviolet or infrared. Because then it would basically be impossible. And then who the hell knows if your lightsaber is on or not? You could just
I was
hear
going to
it.
say,
You could just hear it like you'd be battling a Jedi or a Sith and they wouldn't know what's going on.
I've never. That would be so confusing. Because you would have like this lightsaber. Like, what if like they could somehow sense each other's lightsabers, and you would see these guys with like just the hilt of the lightsabers going
How
whoa, whoa, whoa,
stupid
whoa,
would
and
that look,
it's just
dude?
like nothing.
Two people with ultraviolet lightsabers fighting.
Then
Oh,
these guys like do
it's actually
backflips.
it actually might look quite cool because their lightsabers themselves would be invisible, and then out of nowhere you'd have the collision light from the plasma hitting each other.
Oh yeah, true. But that would be cool because technically we could do something like that. And but yeah, we are approaching the end of the episode. I just want to touch on the code that I have here, and then if you have any comments. But before we do that, I just want to say the code that I find that pick some words. Okay, there's no dark side, nor a light side. There is only the Force. I'll do what I must to keep the balance. There is no good without evil, but evil must not be allowed to flourish. There is passion, yet peace. There is serenity, yet emotion. There is chaos, yet order. That's the code I have, and that just speaks volumes of what we basically covered. Is there anything you want to add on before we conclude this episode of ours?
There's one quote by one of the most famous great Jedi, a dude called Jolie Bindo from the original Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic game.
Oh, such a cool guy.
Yeah, and he's like basically just this hermit old man that was on inside of Kashyyyk in the Shadowlands where the Wookiees come from. Well, I don't know if the Wookiees come from the Shadowlands, but Kashyyyk. Anyway, he says, "Well, I assure you, I see more grey than dark or light. I'm just a stubborn old man, tired of the foolishness of others." And when you think about it, the religiosity of both the Jedi and the Sith can be foolish, just in its rigidity, you know.
Mm. But guys, that is the conclusion of this episode. If we did intrigue you enough in this episode, then you would most definitely should go listen to or go view our episode on YouTube if you want to, on the full episode of Ramble Shrapnel. Again, guys, unfortunately, Jotun had to win the victory. He tied me down to the boring side apparently, and he got the cool guys. Well done, Jotun. Congrats again.
Way go Jotun!
But again, guys, there's other little episodes of the main episode. So if you guys don't have time to listen to a 15-minute episode, or when we have a special guest, but like to just push the boundaries a bit, then definitely go listen to another Shrapnel episode. And just listen to the big episodes when you get a chance. I like to listen personally. Listen while I walk in the shops. Guys, I keep eyes on where the cars are coming, so don't fret. But I like to listen, or when I'm at the gym. And when I'm in the gym, I'm giving my sweat, and then unfortunately, when I'm putting in my one set and I laugh, I have to kind of put down the weight. But I love it.
Cool.
But yes, guys, thank you very much for joining us in this little episode of The Pieces. And we hope you guys come listen to us in the next episode. Bye bye from me.
Bye bye, everyone.